You know what I really admire? I admire an optimist. I admire the sort of person who can look at humanity's history of subjugation and genocide, environmental disaster through sheer ignorance, and then environmental disaster despite enlightenment. I can really admire the sort of person that looks at that and thinks that somehow we will find a way to save ourselves. I admire them because they're happier than me. Stupid, but happy. When Earth burns to dust and all of our brains are uploaded to an Amazon cloud server, floating through space like an asteroid, ready to seek out the next planet that we will inhabit and slowly destroy, we'll look back upon this particular moment in time and we'll know exactly how and why we f***ed up. I'm Richard Beach, I'm ranting again, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly why your next electric car probably won't be electric and why that is a disaster. So where do we start? I want you to bear in mind two facts throughout this video. Fact one is that governments around the world are actively encouraging people to purchase electric cars. And fact two is that petrol prices are soaring, making ICE cars even more expensive to run. A bonus fact is that I'm a staunch and vocal advocate of electric cars and e-mobility. So really, if anyone should be excited about those two facts, it's this guy.
Didn't ask.
Well, I am delighted that the world is turning to electric cars. When you combine them with micromobility solutions like scooters, bikes and e-bikes, they are a huge part of the solution that could prevent us from the impending fiery hell doom that we seem to be marching towards. But right now, saving the planet is a wealthy person's game. Buying a brand new electric car will cost you at least £30,000 if you want anything over 200 miles of range, and that's if you don't have to wait for months and months on a waiting list just to get it in the first place. Whenever I tell people that I work for a media company that focuses on electric cars, they pretty much always say the same thing, which is that they desperately want to go electric, but they just cannot afford to do so. The fact right now is that if you don't want to spend £30,000 up front on an electric car and you don't want to take out a huge finance deal that will see you paying loads of interest, then you could save up £3,000 or £4,000 and get a half decent ICE car that still has loads of life left in it. And the sad reality of that is that it won't just pollute the planet, but it could end up costing you more in the long run than just buying that fancy new electric car in the first place. The cost of fuel in the UK at the moment is around £2 per litre. For some context, when I started driving in 2006, back in the second ice age, it costs less than half of that. This has taken the average cost of filling a tank in the UK up to £100. Let's say you can go 500 miles on a single tank and you drive around 10,000 miles on average per year. That's, okay dude, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna work out the maths on that, because I can't do it in my head. And then what we'll do is like cut back in. So it just looks like I've worked it out. I just put my glasses on so I can do the math. £2,000 that it would cost you every year just to run your car.
Genius.
If you then add in repair costs over the course of 10 years, if the car lasts for another 10 years, and then vehicle tax of a few £100s a year, then you could be looking at £25,000 over 10 years just to fuel and keep your car running. On the other hand, let's say you buy yourself a brand new electric Kia e-Niro because your partner wouldn't let you have a Model Y.
Not on my watch.
You would probably end up spending around £500 a year on electricity if you mainly charged at home, and you wouldn't have to pay any vehicle tax because there is none on electric cars. You'd have a 7-year manufacturer warranty with Kia, and you wouldn't have to pay any congestion charge. So after you spend £25,000 to £30,000 on buying a Kia e-Niro, and then let's say you spend £5,000 to £10,000 over 10 years on charging it, assuming that electricity costs keep rising as they are at the moment, then your total cost might be £30,000 to £40,000 to keep that car running for 10 years. And that car will have some resale value at the end of those 10 years. So all things considered, the cost of that old ICE banger versus a brand new electric car aren't all that different. Yet with over 2/5 of the world's population earning less than $5 a day, most people simply cannot afford a £30,000 charge up front. This would be absolutely fine if there was any sign of a healthy second-hand market for electric cars around the £5,000 mark. But when I look on Auto Trader right now for electric cars under £5,000, I find 3 cars. 3.
Are you serious?
And with almost the entire automotive industry being seemingly obsessed with building £40,000 giant luxury SUVs so that mums can drive their kids half a mile to school in the morning, the chances of a decent second-hand car market for electric cars look a long way off. So effectively what we're doing is trapping lower income people in a cycle of having to burn fossil fuels just to get around and paying vast amounts of money to do so. If you live in a high density European city with good public transport, then you'll probably be absolutely fine. I live in London and I've had to drive my car twice this year. But most people don't have these options. If you live somewhere like the US, where infrastructure and urban planning is based around the car and not the person, and where public transit is underfunded, then you really are trapped into ICE car ownership. And if you do live in suburban America or the British countryside, then there's probably no bus to catch, and in some places there's not even a pavement or a sidewalk to walk on. So the only thing you can drive is a car. And if you aren't earning loads of money, then that's probably going to be an old petrol car.
For f***'s sake!
On top of all of this, you can bet your last penny that the taxes associated with running a petrol car will continue to go up and up and up as governments desperately try to get people to switch to electric cars so that they can meet their national emissions targets. So the person that loses out is you. Right, that's probably about enough of me rambling. There is an upside to all of this, which is that it does force people to question whether every car journey is really necessary. Perhaps you can carpool and split the cost. Perhaps you can cycle to work instead of driving. Perhaps you can just get public transport if there is that option. All of these changes in behaviour will help in the long run. Ultimately though, if we really want to change things, then electric car companies need to start creating affordable electric cars for the masses, which is something I can say until I'm blue in the face, and I do often say it. So if you want to hear more of that sort of thing, and reviews of electric cars, reviews of electric bikes, reviews of electric scooters, then please do subscribe to Electroheads. And if you have any questions, drop a comment below and I'll do my best to reply. Thanks for watching.